is unique, at least from all of my friends and family who have gone through this process. It has been nothing like mine, which is just par for the course, honestly. So please don't take it as I'm trying to, turn anybody away from this. It's more so that I like to laugh at myself, and I think it's just a kind of a funny story worth sharing. So, and 100% I would do it again. I would do the whole thing again 5 more times if it meant that the end result would be, getting what I need to get. So, anyways, so with all of those disclaimers in front of us, I'm going to share what has been a very rough few weeks for me. Okay, so if you have watched my videos before, you know that I have a heart condition. I was born with a congenital heart condition, and because of that, I became eligible to receive the COVID-19 vaccine in New York City on February 15th. And you also know, if you watch my videos, that I am a hypochondriac with a huge needle phobia. I'm really, really, really bad with needles, shots, blood work, anything relating to that. It's nightmare fuel. Like, I don't handle it well at all. Which does make for funny stories after the fact, but not so much in the moment, right? So anyways, if you are from New York or you've just been keeping up with the news, you know that it's been incredibly difficult to land a vaccine appointment, even if you're eligible. It's not that there aren't enough sites, it's just there's not been enough of the vaccine. And there's, tons of people who are now eligible trying to make the same appointments as everybody else, right? So I had been pretty vigorously checking for about 2 or 3 weeks. My math is bad, but it felt like I was looking for a while and really having no success landing an appointment, because the second they would be posted, they would be snatched up. Like no joke. As an example, the other day, the Javits Center opened up almost 8,000 appointments, and they were all completely gone within 5 minutes. And that's a mass testing site. Like, that's a lot of appointments. But they were gone so quickly, and that's for the people who are able to make it through without the site crashing too. Anyways, that's just one example. So it's been really, really hard to find an appointment and to get it and to keep it and to actually get the vaccine in your arm. So that's something that I was mindful of and getting frustrated with, because again, having this needle phobia, it's like the more I think about it and fixate on it, the worse my anxiety and stress gets, to the point where I just kind of start crying, because it's important for me to put it out of my head. So that's why I just wanted to get it done with, because the more I would ruminate about it, the worse I would feel. And it's like, I have to get it either way, right? I can't live a normal life until I get these vaccines, so I just have to do it. So I was getting frustrated, and I was starting to look more at the cancellations, the last minute cancellations. Those are hard to get to, but I followed this site called TurboVax, which is like an aggregate where it shares all of the, recently canceled appointments that you can fill in and take. So I got really, really, really lucky one night. I don't know what it was. I just had this feeling like I need to check the site right now. I was at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. I just had this really strong gut feeling that I needed to look, and I checked TurboVax, and literally, I'm not even kidding or exaggerating, the second I opened up the site, there was with me who was also eligible, and she was able to get an appointment for a time like shortly after me. So it was such a huge relief that we were able to get this appointment. Now granted, I live in Brooklyn and the appointment was in the Bronx, which is obviously not ideal, but I would take anything at that point. We have cars, so we just figured whatever, we'll drive, it's no big deal. So we had, like I said, we scheduled the appointments at like 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and the appointment was for the following day, the following evening at 7 p.m. And again, because, I was like hounding the cancellations, they come up that quickly, Sometimes you can find an appointment for the same day or the day after, rather than when you schedule just a regular appointment. Sometimes you have to wait weeks or a month, or, it depends on the site, but it's difficult. So, we were like, it was a combination. We were excited. I was very nervous. I had to start compiling all of like my medical records and make sure I had all the files that I needed and filling everything out online and whatnot. So, but I was just happy again to be getting it over with. So the next day rolls around and I'm literally a bucket of nerves. Because I had a really stressful work day. I was like leading some professional development event with a bunch of teachers, and so that was on my mind. And then obviously, because I'm terrified of needles, that was hugely on my mind as well. And I start checking Twitter for the site that I was gonna be going to in just a few hours, and it was very discouraging. There were tons of people on Twitter complaining that their wait time was like 5 hours. It took them like 5 hours, even with their appointment, because everything was so backed up with the snowstorm and because their check-in process was unusually slow and inefficient. I'm not going to say the name of the site because again, I'm not here to deter people. I think this process is very important, and I'm not trying to throw too much shade, though I will say it was run very inefficiently compared to other sites. I have not heard of many other sites having this problem. So I'm not going to say the name of it, but it just was not an ideal scenario. So we knew going into it that it wasn't going to be a fun night, because we figure, okay, if we have a 7 o'clock appointment, 5 hours, that's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in the morning, we would be getting the vaccine, theoretically, right? If this is accurate information that we're seeing on Twitter. So we essentially pack like an overnight bag, and mind you, people are waiting outside because only so many people can go into the site at once. So it's also February, it's freezing, it's cold at night, so we wear lots of layers. We pack snacks and drinks and games, like a whole overnight sleepover bag, basically. Because we just don't know what to expect. We're hoping that it's quick, but we're seeing a few people saying that it's not a good experience, so we're just trying to be as prepared as possible. So we leave our apartment at 5 p.m. because we have a 7 o'clock appointment, and from Brooklyn to Bronx during rush hour, it takes about 2 hours to get there. So we did arrive right at 7 o'clock. I was a little bit nervous about being late because you're supposed to arrive a few minutes early for your appointment. And just to be clear, everybody had an appointment. There were no walk-ins. So everyone online had an appointment for a certain time. So I just want to make that point as well. So we get there at 7 o'clock. And the line outside of the testing or the vaccine site anyways, the line is 4 blocks long, which is long. If you're not familiar with how city blocks work, I can't give you a different form of measurement, but it's long. It's a long line. And the thing about this line is that it wasn't moving. So I'd say the first hour we were there waiting in line, we moved maybe half a block. So movement was slow. We also brought a blanket because we figured we'd be sitting. Like, again, our expectations was that this was going to be a miserable experience, so we did come prepared. But it did make me feel awful for other people who didn't think to check Twitter, or, people who don't use Twitter, to know that this would be a terrible process, right? We came prepared. Tons of people were not dressed properly, or, had chairs or blankets or food or drinks, none of that, right? So that's awful, especially when you think about the fact that the people in this line are 65 plus. They're people with underlying conditions. It's not a safe environment for them. And also, I'm going to add that this site was in the middle of the Bronx at nighttime. And so within the first hour of us being there, my roommate and I hear 2 loud noises, and we're like, were those gunshots? And we're like, no, it's probably just a car backfiring, or it's whatever. It could be anything. It's not gunshots. well as like the heart condition issue. And so what made me eligible was obviously the heart condition. But I do have other issues, like I said, with circulation, and just, I don't know how to explain it. I have this sort of weird formation with my arteries, so my right side is weaker than my left side, and I don't know, it's a whole thing, and it is what it is. But essentially I'm generally always cold, unless it's like, you know, I complain that my apartment's a million degrees a lot of the time, and that's true, but temperature regulation is hard for me. Like, my hands and feet are almost always numb. Like on a good day, like right now my feet are freezing and I have fuzzy socks on and leggings and it's warm. So by hour 3 I start to not feel very good, and I can't feel my feet or my hands, and I'm starting to get really tired. And that's weird for me. I'm never tired. I stay up until like 2 or 3 in the morning, like on any given day. And at this point, it's probably 10 o'clock or so at night. So clearly my body wasn't having a good time, and it was sort of starting to shut down a little bit. And I would say it was probably like 35 degrees outside. A lot of people in the line seemed to be doing just fine. Literally, the guy behind me was wearing shorts. It's like, okay, you're a psychopath. But you know, that's just to say, like, a lot of people can handle that kind of weather. I'm not very good with it, and I'm sure there were a lot of people in line who had it much worse than me. Like I said, in terms of eligibility, you know, I'm relatively healthy. There are people with worse underlying conditions than me, who are much older than me, who probably were suffering a lot worse in that cold. So, yeah, it started to get pretty bad around hour 3. And at that point, we found out that, I don't know, someone in the line went to go ask, like, the security guard, like, you know, what's the deal? What's up with the wait? And they said that they were able to vaccinate 30 people per hour. And that at that moment, there were still 140 people in front of us. So that was like another 4 hours, if my math's correct. So that was discouraging to hear, because, like I said, by hour 3, I was starting to take a turn. But again, you know, we're trying to, you know, keep busy. We're trying to move. We're trying to dance. We're listening to music. Of course, being mindful that our phones don't die, because we have certain things that we need to show them on our phones. And also, we just don't want our phones to die in the middle of the Bronx. Obviously, right? So, by hour 4, we've made little progress in the line, and I'm really not doing good by hour 4. Like, I am straight up just depressed. I'm sitting on a blanket trying to sleep because I'm literally exhausted and I'm getting a headache. And I'm starting to feel just like I'm literally starting to feel sick. To the point where I like want to start crying. And like, I get it. I can be a bit of a baby at times. I like to think of myself as very resilient, and I think I was on this evening, but I don't know. I just started to feel like a little bit helpless, I guess. So I decide that I'm gonna go take a walk to the nearest gas station. My roommate's school was staying in the line, and I just need to go like get a hot tea or something, because I literally can't feel most of my body. I'm exhausted. I'm literally shutting down, and I'm getting I'm not feeling good vibes with myself. So I start walking to the gas station, and I literally, on the way there, I pass a Wendy's, and there's literally people walking through the drive-thru because they can't go inside. It's drive-thru only. So people are literally walking through and ordering. Like, I don't know. I thought that was so funny. Like, even that made me laugh. noticed that I wasn't doing well. So I get back in line. I'd say this was maybe a 20-minute trip. And by this point, my roommate has started to talk more with the people behind us. You know, we're keeping safe. We all have masks. We're not on top of each other, but there's some conversation starting, which is good. It was good to have some people to talk to distract us, because it was starting to get really hard. We're just having some casual conversation, no big deal. And so finally, after 6 hours, 6 hours of waiting outside in the cold in the middle of the Bronx in February, we finally make it to the door, the front entrance of the site. We get inside, and immediately the energy was so chaotic. Like, after waiting for so long with nothing happening, it's like you walk in and you're like bombarded. So they start giving us all these clipboards and packets to fill out. And this is why the site is poorly managed, because you're forced to fill out everything online just to refill it all out on paper when you arrive. That's why the line was so long. It's very inefficient, and most sites don't do that. I don't know why this particular site operated that way, but that's why there was such an issue, because people had to sit down and fill out packets worth of information, among other things, which I'll get into. But so again, I don't understand why that was part of the practice. It could have been so much more efficient had they just read everything that was submitted online. I don't get it, because that's also not safe either, to have a bunch of people, I mean, not a bunch, but to have people just sitting inside writing things down on paper. It just is so, I don't know, so stupid to me. But anyway, so I start filling out this packet, and I'm literally so numb I can't even write. Like, I'm basically writing chicken scratch, and all of the people who are working in there are like trying to keep the flow moving as quickly as possible. Also, apologies if you hear my radiator just turned on. Hopefully it's kind of like a white noise. It should stop soon though. So we start filling out this packet, and I sit in that line for a good amount of time, trying not to fall asleep because my roommate and I had been separated at that point. We were taken in different directions. I was upstairs, she was downstairs. It was a pretty big building, but yeah, so I'm waiting in line, blah, blah, blah. And this is where I start to get really anxious because, again, I have a huge needle phobia. I've been very resistant to just the whole thing. Not resistant in the sense of, oh, I'm not getting it, just resistant emotionally and mentally because it just makes me so nervous. So I start to cry a little bit, like just a little bit, just a few tears, you know. I hardly have the energy to cry. And I'm like trying to be tough because I'm by myself. So I'm like texting my friends and stuff. My friends who were still awake, which were, luckily there were a few people. And I was texting my roommate too, who was with me downstairs, to see, like, you know, how it was going for her. So I finally get called to go into the next room, which is another intake check-in process. So I sit down with somebody and they go over all of the information that was sent and submitted online and all of the information I filled out on paper, confirming all of it, typing it into their computer. Like, so many ways this could have been run more effectively. So that was really frustrating, and I find that it's hard for me to hear people properly when we're both double masked, and I've realized over time that I rely a lot on reading people's lips. I'm not hard of hearing, but I don't know what it is. It doesn't register fast enough, I guess, in my brain. So, and there's like this big, like, plexiglass wall, and I'm just like, what are you saying to me? I can't hear you. And I'm so tired. It's almost 2 in the morning at this point, because I had to wait like another hour once I was inside. And I'm just like, what are you saying? And then he schedules me my next appointment, which is, you know, a month from now. And of course it's at the same site, so I'm like, awesome, I can't wait to come back here. This has been such a pleasant experience so far. Oy vey. So then, after that, I sit and wait again. I'm sitting and waiting for the nurse who's going to vaccinate me. So finally, after about 15 minutes of waiting there, the nurse comes and grabs me. We go into a room. She asks me more questions. Like, my goodness, like, the amount of questions that were repeatedly asked to me makes no sense, but whatever. And I we stepped into the apartment. We walked through the door at 4 in the morning. 4 in the morning we got home. After, arriving for our 7 p.m. appointment, we got home at 4 a.m. the next day. And I gotta be honest, by the time I got home, I was a little bit wired. It was hard for me to settle down and go to sleep. So that sucked. And, so that was my big outing. And now I would be remiss to not talk about the next day. I expected that I would feel sore. But I literally woke up at 8 a.m. I slept for about 4 hours. I woke up at 8 a.m. because I was in so much pain. Now I'm a big baby when it comes to bodily pain again, because I'm a hypochondriac, so I fixate on everything, every little ache and pain in my body. I hyper focus on it, and it makes it so much worse. This is my own fault. This is a mental thing. I knew my arm would be sore, but I didn't expect it to be that sore. It hurt a lot without me even moving or touching it. I guess that's what I wasn't expecting. I figured it would be hard to kind of lift it up or whatever. No, it hurt really badly, without me even doing anything to it. And, it woke me up out of my sleep because I was in so much pain. So that's where I start freaking out, because I'm like, oh my god, I wasn't expecting this, and my brain starts going crazy, right? Doing these mental gymnastics. Not because it's the most excruciating pain of my life, but I just start to feel panicky because that's just how I am. So I call my roommate because she was active online. So I was like, thank God she's up. Maybe she can distract me because I'm sending myself into a panic spiral. So she comes in and she starts talking to me, and it's not helping. And I try to sit up, and I start feeling really lightheaded and really nauseous. So I'm like, hey, can you go get me a bag? And she's like, why? And I'm like, I think I'm gonna throw up, but I can't move. I can't get out of bed because my body is so sore and I'm in so much pain. I literally can't make it to the toilet. So she runs out and gets me a plastic bag. And no joke, the second she comes in with it, I start throwing up everywhere. I literally start just hurling my guts out into this bag on my bed. And when I throw up, it's not pretty. My whole body goes into it, and it's just the most horrifying noise. It's like a dead animal, a dying animal noise. I can't. It's so embarrassing. And my roommate's just trying to comfort me. She's meanwhile is completely disgusted with me. So I'm throwing up, and at this point I have delved into a full-fledged panic attack. That's truly what made me throw up in the first place too. It was because I was panicking and freaking out. That's how it always happens, though that's the first time I've ever thrown up in response to a panic attack. But my brain just spirals. It's okay, I'm in so much pain, I'm injured, I'm not okay. Something bad is happening to me, I'm dying. That's where my brain goes, even if it's not logical. And I know it's not true. I can't, my brain's moving too fast, and I can't convince myself that I'm okay. So I literally, I can't breathe. I'm fully panicking, and at this point, I'm still throwing up, but I'm sobbing. And I'm laughing now because it's so funny. It's so embarrassing and stupid, and it's over nothing. It's just my arm is sore, and yet I'm having an existential crisis. Oh my god, I'm crying right now because it's so funny. And so shout out to my roommate because she was very helpful with that. She tried to calm me down. She got me a warm compress and gave me lots of Advil, and it did help a little bit. And I got better after that. I was okay, everyone gets sore. I'm okay. This is a normal symptom. It has nothing if you don't move it, it's gonna get tighter and it's gonna stay sore for longer. So she's like literally forcing me to lift my arm up over my head, and I'm just like sobbing. I'm like, I don't want to do it, it hurts, because I'm such a huge baby. And I just want to like sidestep and say that like it isn't the pain that is why I freak out, like, because again, I'm not trying to deter anybody. Like, I don't want you to watch this video if you haven't been vaccinated yet and think, oh my god, this is terrible, I'm not gonna do it. No, that's not what it is at all. No, because I'm such a hypochondriac, it's the fixation of it for me. So like, if I notice that my arm is sore, it makes me think about my body, and it makes me think about feeling sick and like something's wrong, and it's the panic spiral. So it's really not about the pain, it's just the more the pain is a reminder of my fixation and my like mental illness, I guess. So please don't take it as like it's a really terrible experience, because I'm only sharing it because I think it's funny and embarrassing. And most people will not have this experience. Most people are like my other friend. She got it the same day and was literally fine. Like, it didn't complain one time. It's me. It's up here. But by mid-afternoon, I was feeling much better. And today, it's only a little bit sore. I'm almost back to like fully normal functionality. And I do still have the Band-Aid on. I'll show you. There it is. I haven't taken it off yet because I'm just emotionally not ready for it yet, in case it like looks bad or red or whatever, because I don't want to throw up again. I'm sure it's fine. It's just my mental gymnastics. We're not there yet, but we're doing good. We're doing much better today. But yeah, so that was my vaccine experience. It was an absolute nightmare. I did expect it to be a nightmare, and my expectations were met. My expectations were actually exceeded, if that's possible. And again, this is a very rare experience. It was because it was a bad site, a poorly run site. No one I know has had this experience, of all of my friends and family. But I think it just makes me stronger, more resilient. I am New York tough, as they say. So I'm just hoping the second dose is not so bad, the process isn't so bad, because I do have to go to the same site, but since I've been checked in already, I think I can just go in and out. But we'll see, I'll let you know. But yeah, so that's why I look maybe a little disheveled, a little tired, a little drained. I did really want to make the video, so that's why this is what you're getting today. But yeah, so I think that covers the vaccine story. I don't think there's anything else that I'm missing. I'm obviously very nervous about my second dose. Because I hear that the pain is much worse, and there's actually flu-like symptoms that accompany it, just because your body's building immunity and it's fighting really hard. Again, it's a very normal, natural process, but I can just tell I'm going to be a huge baby about it, you know, so looking forward to that, but that's not until March 26th. So I have some time to panic before then. Just kidding. I'm going to try not to think about it. But it's a good light at the end of the tunnel. I can't wait to be vaccinated so I can feel a little bit safer, and we can all be on this road back to normal, whatever normal is. If we ever have normal again. Of course, that means I'm going to keep wearing my masks and sanitizing and doing all of the safe things I've been doing. But it just will make me feel a little more protected. So, that's the plan. But yeah, the only real symptom I had from dose 1 was just the will be protected, right? And that's all we can ask for at this time, and just trying to get back out there so we can eventually see people and do things and have lives again. So it does make me feel hopeful and excited, and I felt really good yesterday. I took a walk and I just was renewed with some hope and positivity that I haven't had in a really long time. So I really do recommend it. I know it's scary, and like I said, I had some resistance as well, but it's really important that we do it for ourselves and for others. So I really do hope that you do what is right when you have the opportunity to do so, even if it's a scary thing, because it can only be good for the future. I know a lot of people talk about being afraid of like what's in the vaccine or whatever, but I know so many people who have gotten COVID, and it's gotta be way worse than whatever's in the vaccine. Really terrible symptoms, and really long-lasting symptoms too that we don't even fully understand or know about yet. It's just not worth the risk. You may be fine if you get COVID, but you may not be. So it's not worth risking your life over and your health over. So please be safe as you can. Wear your mask, sanitize, and protect yourself and others as best you can.